must unite what has been set asunder.
We are TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heist Click and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. In the darkest of nights, gonna let my light shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die. Microdose, Day 3. The strain, Golden Teacher. So after yesterday, I was not sure if I wanted to have such an epic experience. I had a hard time sleeping. My mind would not stop racing, and I began to really notice I was getting a lot of work done. It would seem that this strain of mushroom creates mental tasks for you to overcome, so when you are resting, you're working as well. So I thought about it, and I went for the 0.3 grams for today. Yeah. Why would I not want it to be epic? We walk into the gym and it's already starting. Today was different. The air was clean and clear. There were more people working out than most days. I could see them overcoming struggle and opposition. I could feel their energies working in a new rhythm. It was really nice. So I began to walk on the treadmill. I was really putting in the hustle. I was listening to my Shiva mantra. I could feel something in me happening. It was very primal, very animal. I began to take deep breaths, and each one made me more happy than the next. Today, the gym did not smell like a gym. It smelt like success and accomplishment. I kept breathing deeper and deeper and raised the incline every 1 minute till the mantra ended and the next song came on. How could that be, I thought to myself. That was like a 16-minute long song. Where was the time? I looked at my phone, and it was 18 minutes at this point. I'm walking at the incline on the highest setting. It was like climbing a mountain. I began to sweat a lot, and it felt amazing. Then I began to play. Is this time speeding up, I asked. I glanced at the clock, and it was 26 minutes past the hour. This is really moving. I jumped off the machine to do leg lifts, so I don't get all soft in the middle. I haven't been able to really knock out a full set since I've been back in the gym, and this is something I want for myself. I'm not sure when this switch happened, but I began just moving through set after set with my legs like I was some kind of gymnast. What the heck is happening? I became excited and started stretching. The feelings that moved throughout my body as I released muscle stress was incredible. After the gym, I felt beyond amazing. I made sure not to overdo it so I can do it again tomorrow. When I got home, I realized I had been making lists of everything I needed to do. And when I looked at today's list, I was like, oh man, it's going to be a long day. So I began to realize I have all these house chores as well as all this other stuff to do. Well, I say to myself, it won't take long, and I start. I get a phone call from Shaman Jimmy, and we start chatting. He tells me that he's having an experience on mushrooms at that moment, and things are getting wild in his surroundings. I tell him I'm doing well, and I begin to have the most intense conversation with him. It was awesome. Two shaman fearlessly talking. As the conversation was ending, I noticed that everything was done. I cleaned the entire house and wrote all this. I can't believe my productivity. Also, I've been in and out of the bathroom all day. My body does not want to hold anything in. I feel so healthy and clean. I have done this before, and it was great, but this time my body really wants it. My diet is changing, and I'm very quick on my feet. My mind is sharp, and my actions are pure. This was a great idea, and I highly recommend it, and I can't wait for tomorrow. What is up, everyone? My name is Frank Castle, your Sorcerer Supreme, right here every Saturday night on Truth Frequency Radio. I'm sitting here with my etherical translator, Paula Milo.
Hey, everyone.
Or as my best bud, Rich Johnson, coined the term for me, the doctor of shamanomics, the currency of your soul.
Nicholas, we will be calling you. We need a T-shirt.
All right. Well, I guess we already started the show. I just wanted to get that part out of the way because I've been backed up on explaining what has happened during
Your
the microdoses.
14-day experiment.
So I wanted to jump through a little bit.
I noticed that I wasn't in that write-up that time.
Well, you were next to me on the treadmill.
I guess it all can't be about me all the time.
Special shout outs to Chris and Cherie. Love you guys so much. Without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this like this. It'd be nothing like this, actually.
No.
I'd still just be Face Man, the rapper. And you'd be Paulie Poo. Anyway, special shout out to everybody in the chat room. I'm so excited to be back. It's great to just be with everybody again. It's been really difficult the last week or so. The energies that have been incoming, it's like 5 minutes, you're fine. Then you're sick with every symptom. Then you're back to normal again, nap, and then you're awake and you're fine. What is that all about?
I don't know. I don't know if it had anything to do with the full moon. Now we're getting a new moon next week. I don't know. It's been a roller coaster. Like emotionally, it's been a roller coaster. And for everyone that we're talking to, it's been the same way. Yes.
I feel like I'm in a dream, but I'm awake. Sometimes it has that movie theater effect.
Yeah, like Drama Central. Like everyone is going through some type of drama. And, you know, we try to stay clear of that. We really try our hardest. Like, you know, we talk about the cats and the birds in the trees and not having pigeons in the yard.
I think sometimes people look at us weird because
we try to eliminate that drama. But
we'll talk about cats and trees and this.
It's just been drama-filled lately. But for everybody that we're dealing with.
Do you find yourself removing yourself from the community, from the groups, from the people, from your best friends, from the people you grew up with, from someone you were exactly agreeing with 5 minutes ago? Now you don't even want to sit in their presence. I think the incoming energies are just really tossing us around.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like we're out at sea on one of those boats.
Out at sea. Yeah, in a boat with no paddle. Yeah, it's just... So you guys seeing the lights, the flashes? What are you feeling? The meditations, do you feel the higher realms closer to you? Do you feel like you moved up? Or do you feel nothing at all? What it is you're doing? And if you feel nothing at all, that's okay too. But I keep seeing the flashes all over the place. In the kitchen, Frank and I were out. We actually left the house today. We were out to dinner, and there were flashes all over the place. In the car, flashes. On the way home, flashes of light. You know, just these amazing. Oh, see, progeny. Yeah, progeny of light. Hello, chat room folks. Yeah, everyone's singing flashes also.
It's Nick.
I know it's Nick.
I'm just saying.
Nick, you got to do a T-shirt for us.
So,
yeah, it's just been a high. It's like a highly heightened emotional time right now.
Like the energies are so high, the emotional state is so high, the electric charge is so high. So if something comes in loving, you're like, yay, love. Something comes in that just catches you the wrong way, immediately you're attacking it, or you're trying to run from it, or you're freaking out about it.
Oh, I freaked out this whole week. I was an emotional roller coaster the whole week, and I'm pretty steady with my Frank,
we have to just be understanding during this time.
Frank is a very animated person, and a lot of stuff happens to him on a daily basis, but I'm pretty much very centered, and I'm very consistent with my behaviors. But this week it was like my feelings were hurt, and then they weren't, and then I was very giggly, and then I was very depressed, and it was just a roller coaster. And I think, extra low frequencies. Yeah, I has to be something going on, because I'm usually not like that. I'm usually the consistent one. Frank is the freaker outer.
I'm only consistent one for Saturday night, right?
No, I don't mean that. I mean, you know what I mean.
No, I completely understand. It's just stressful, and
yeah, I don't like it. I don't like feeling like this. I feel like I'm not in control of myself.
For those of you that want to hear the story of of what I was just reading to you about my conversation, having it with the other shaman Jimmy, you could check out at
yes
Frank Castle Fearless YouTube channel, the We Are Fearless podcast, number 5. Shaman Jimmy's on there. When you hear his story, wow, talk about what we're talking about now. It all fits.
Oh,
It's
I know. I
relevant.
was listening in when you
He
were
was
talking.
sitting in the area he was having his experience in, and cops just like raided the area, and they were actually cleaning everything out, I believe, for the medieval festival that everyone forgot they were having in that area. And then he got stuck in the parking lot and surrounded by cops. And he tells the story. It's amazing. I'm not going to give away all the details, but he was like, please, Shiva, protect me, and make me invisible.
I don't want to
right?
go to jail
And then
today.
he called me while I had started the cleaning in the house. And he's like, oh, my God, I got to tell you something. And he's sitting there. So he tells me the story, and I thought it happened already. And I go, this isn't happening now, is it? He goes, right now, it's happening right now. And we were already like 20 minutes into the call. And then we just started talking about all this awesome stuff because he was under. He was like, I can't leave. I can't drive. I can't do nothing. I got to just sit
you
here.
have to sit here and wait.
He goes, if they look in the car, I'm dead. Like, I'm done. And we just talked and talked for 2 hours. I got all the chores done. And we had the greatest conversation. He was telling me about the beings that was helping him and who was watching and how they were laughing at him while this was going on. The Indian, the monkey being, the monkey man being, we were just watching something where someone was dressed like him. I don't remember his name. He was sitting on the car across from him, laughing about what was happening, but was also protecting him, but watching him freak out. So he was the monkey laughing.
Right.
And he's like, let him tell the story. It's fantastic, and it'll drive you nuts. You'll go, oh, my God, you'll be sweating. And then.
But didn't something like that happen to you today? You walked to
everywhere.
You walked to go visit your grandparents.
Everywhere I went, the cops were there today.
And then you ran a few errands, and then you walked back home.
I turned a corner. I had seen this cop for the 6th time, and now I'm just walking around. And Paula will tell you, I'm like the masked Avenger, right? I got sunglasses on, the dark hat, a hood, black coat, zipped up.
Yeah.
My chin hair just sticking out.
Pretty much hide in plain sight.
Yeah, right. So I'm walking around, and you would definitely, whoever's fault it might be, it's always my fault when you see me like that. You'll be like, no, dude, it was definitely him. Whatever it is, it's him. So I had seen them once, I'd seen them twice, and I turned 2 corners, and I'm strolling. And once again, I'm listening to the Ganesha mantra, and I'm all happy. Boom, turns the corner again. And I'm like, is that multiple cars or the same car? So by the time I got to my grandparents, when I left,
you knew the number
I came back around, and I went up a dead street. It was really quiet. Boom, pulls right up to the corner behind me. They were about a quarter of a block away. And I just turn around and look, and I catch their eye, and the light goes on the car. And I'm like, oh, they're just going to come over here and arrest me for no reason, right? And that's what's going to happen. And they just drive by me. And I'm like, oh, woo. And then I come out with you, and we've seen them twice. So they're definitely patrolling the neighborhood today.
That's wonderful.
But it's like listen, there's a bunch of us that have had cop stories recently, and some of them are insane. Correct, Nicholas? So, and it's just the weirdest things that have gone on. And you could almost feel the pressure at times as the energy changes, like, uh-oh, the other side is on to us, right? The reptilian consciousness is going to find us. And then, nope.
I'm telling you, it was just I'm going to tell a story that is going to portray me in such a derogatory light right now that I don't even care. The energy is so weird this week. Frank and I were sitting on the couch and we're watching a movie, and we have, and many of you know, we rescued 2 cats, and we're trying to get them acclimated to living in the house. They have to go out constantly. I have 1 cat. He's just a dirt cat, Buddy. He just loves to roll around in the dirt, and he comes in and we clean him off, Buddy. And then he just rolls around in the dirt more. So this one night we're watching a movie, and Buddy is snuggling with me and in a blanket.
Oh God, you're gonna tell them?
You know what? I have to, because I need to understand why this happened, because I'm feeling this was horrible. So we're snuggling in a blanket, and all of a sudden, he starts suckling the blanket, which is fine. And then it turns out into a whole leg rape situation.
I've never saw a cat do the
It
do the dog leg hump.
It was absolutely horrible.
I said, I'm not.
And I was in denial.
That's uncomfortable.
Frank
Get
is
him off
like,
the couch.
get him off me.
Wait, there's more.
So then now we try to get this cat off of me, and he's like stiff and
Rigid.
he's just growling at this point, and I am like, who is this cat? This is the cat that I kiss and hug all the time. So Frank gets him off the couch. So my baby, Oscar, and anyone who knows me, Oscar is my baby. If I died tomorrow, Frank would have to kill Oscar and just bury him with me because he would not be able to go on. In my head, I believe this. So as soon as Buddy jumps off the couch, Oscar climbs on top of me and lays right in the spot Buddy laid in, and he's like rescenting the area and starts suckling the blanket, and I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? Like, I'm horrified. And then I look at Frank and I'm like, Frank, I really hope you didn't want to fool around, because I said,
I'm not going third. This is my house.
I feel completely used. I don't understand what's happening to me. But this is what I mean by just the energy being completely off and crazy things happening. I mean, I was horrified and shocked in my own house at what's going on, and then Frank is just looking at me like, why do you think this is
everything
happening?
And every being around us has been out of character.
Yeah, just weird stuff happening.
I was saying this to my grandfather. I'm like, it's all right if Paula does it. It's all right if I do it in my house. Everything, and my cats. Outside of that, maybe Mom once or twice in the week, and that's it. And he looked at me and he goes, "Good man." I said, you have to separate yourself because of the crazy. If the cats are turning into acting like dogs and humping legs and everybody's jumping on the girl in the room, which is so odd to watch. If you were sitting in the room, you'd go, what the hell is going on in the corner? And your face was just
I was horrified.
Stunned.
Like, is it my pheromones? Like, what's going on? I'm totally joking, but it was just
rising.
I guess so. But no. I'm just, the only reason I'm telling the story is because something is definitely off. Something is definitely happening. We're getting ready for something, and I have a feeling whatever it is, it's going to be revealed soon.
Absolutely. And Rob, I'm so sorry to hear about your brother, your buddy that got killed by the police. One of the things that's happening, I'm sorry to just flip it, but everyone's that's acting out, right? So like that police consciousness, we all know what that's like, that reptilian consciousness, that dominating factor force. They're going to get worse before they get better. But it's all going to get worse. All right, so if you're a piece of trash, you're really going to show and be a piece of trash. But that's, how do you say this without sounding, all right, they're already showing their hand. It's going to be pushed to a breaking point. I don't really know what's going to happen at that point, but I can definitely say everything's going to change. I don't really want to.
Oh, I think it definitely is going to be
pick
part
out
of
specific consciousnesses and say, well, you're going to get smashed. I don't want to say stuff like that only because.
But I think that's exactly it. Oh, it's funny, Nick. Yeah, his cat has been peeing in the dog's food dish, and the dog has been peeing in the litter box.
Yeah, everybody's acting.
I'm saying this is weird. It's just all weird.
And it was funny in Ghostbusters. They do the joke, and he's like, dogs and cats getting along. Everything's going crazy, and we make jokes about that. And there is more disclosure in that movie than I've seen in most movies with exactly what's going on.
Oh, definitely.
It was that end moment right before the incident that took place, like when everything was released and then the portal opens. So let's just talk about this for a second. One of the things with the microdose report,
I'm hiding in my bed.
The end of the report talks about, and literally the last page of the report talks about the solar flash event. And they just threw it in at me like, oh yeah, and don't forget this. And because I thought everything was over. My 14 days are done. I'm all finished. And they were like, wait. Before you go, there's one more. All right. And leading up to that event, they're talking about first quarter 2018. I give no dates, no times, nothing. They don't even tell me that kind of stuff, but they said first quarter. And I know the quarters because of my music, when the music money gets paid quarterly. And I'm like, well, that ends next month. like in April, the first quarter's done.
That's what I'm saying.
And they're like,
I'm saying something's going to happen.
Dogs and cats getting along. Everything's going up in the air. What's happening?
Look, I don't think it's going to be anything. I think it's going to be a beautiful experience. We just talked about this before.
I know. And we were asked to talk about it, and I'm probably going to cover it every show until it happens.
We were asked to talk about it. And it's funny because I usually do put up a psychic a shield. I totally put a protection up around myself. But this is just, it's almost like it's out of control. And I do think something very beautiful and very powerful is going to be happening. And I think it will be witnessed by everyone in the world. And
you got to be able to, all right, reach out. Use the force. Reach out with your feelings. What do you feel?
Yeah, what do you feel?
All right, what patterns have you witnessed? But I physical and in 3D.
I think when it happens, there are people that are going to receive downloads and become...
And others that'll just watch a beautiful thing
and become more aware than they are. And then for the people that don't change energetically, it's just going to be a beautiful experience. This is what I believe.
Right.
But you can believe me or not, or you can think I'm just making stuff up. It doesn't matter. I don't care. This is what I believe is going to happen. I think it's going to happen pretty soon. I mean, energetically, it's been very difficult.
It's been horribly difficult. And let me just tell you guys something. We are all we have.
We really are, though.
Right.
We were talking about that before too. It's like
so many people I spoke to this week, right? Like I don't have anyone to talk to about this. I don't have anyone. I'm like, well, I'm right here. I might not be able to give you 100% devoted my time for 20, 30 minutes at a time, but I give everybody 5 minutes no matter what. And I try my best because you know what? We need to have each other. This is why we built the Fearless group.
Right.
The so Fearless TFR on Facebook.
All have a safe place to talk about what we want to talk about.
Because we need this. We need this, right?
Well, it's like that woman, that YouTube video that we watched. The woman, she was getting
the Q. What is it?
Oh, the QHHT.
Right.
Right. She was disclosing information from her QHHT sessions, and I had a QHHT session right before I met Frank, and it didn't make sense to me until about 6 months ago. And I pieced that together. They were showing me things. I was asking specifically about one thing, and what I was being shown in my QHHT session was something completely different. And then it didn't make sense to me. It was years until 6 months ago. And then it had everything to do with you coming into my life, but I didn't realize it. So this woman has a video. I don't remember her name. And she was reading, she got permission from her clients to share the information from their sessions. And it's all very, it's like how the Pleiadians come and give you information about what's going to happen.
Yep.
And she was, every time she spoke, she hit a button. She struck a nerve with me because I think she's completely right. And it's pretty close to what I'm saying, that this event is going to be happening sooner than we thought. And it's not going to be a scary, it's not going to be.
No, it's what we've all been waiting for.
Right. So
like in that waiting that you have, like, why the hell are we here? What's going on?
All I know is I feel it's going to be a beautiful experience, and it is going to be witnessed by everyone.
Explain that.
Oh, the QHHT. So QHHT is quantum healing hypnotism therapy, and it was founded by Dolores Cannon, who was basically the godmother of bringing all this information in about the shift. I mean, she was a therapist during, I think it was World War II. She was with her husband living on a military base. She was a therapist, and she started helping people with, issues like stopping smoking or not eating as much. And she ended up working with this woman, and she channeled Nostradamus, she channeled Jesus, and she found out truths that history left, that history is left out.
Right. One of her people, when I was under my first experience week, I told you, Chris Gio, I was at his house, and he had someone on the line on Skype. And I came out of the bathroom, freshly shaved and showered, 3 days I was into it already. And this lady knew I walked into the room. Now, she couldn't see me. I was all the way in the back. It was a house. And she goes, I hear, oh, is that Frank?
Yeah,
she
she's
goes,
another psychic. Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, this is the guy I want you to read. She's like, I'm sorry. I'm not reading him. No, we're not doing it. And then he's like, why not? Like, I need help with this. And she goes, if I say one thing that makes him go off his path, and this is like the third time in my life I've heard this, then it's going to be my karma if he's not in place. So I can't say nothing. I'm not allowed to give him any hints. I'm not allowed to read him. I'm not allowed to build up his confidence. I'm not allowed to do anything.
I think that had to happen the way it happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I was at a medieval festival once, right? And I was having a great time. This was years ago. It was way before ayahuasca. And they said to me there, I went into the tent, and the girl came out and said, no, I'm not going to read you. And I said, why? What did I do? What did I do? I'm not drinking. She goes, no, I can't read you. And she walked away. And then the guy came out. He goes, I'll read you. And then he looked at me. He goes, nope. Walked right out. And I'm like, I can't get the reading. I was screaming. I'm a Leo. Come on. I got stung by a bee today. Somebody read my chart. And they were like, just get out of the tent. And now I see why.
Right.
Like now, years later, I'm not depressed about it. I'm like, oh. Right. Like, all right. When I woke up in the tank in the, I don't know where it was. And the being that was there said to me, oh, you're going to enjoy this. And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, oh, you're running the Horus program. And I went, what does that mean? He goes, oh, just lay down and get ready.
Right. But imagine if you were told.
There's a bunch of us running that. Yeah, you can't tell.
But imagine if you were told that years before, you would feel like you're crazy. Like just like me.
Crazy or hubristically stupid.
If someone would have told me you're going to meet this guy and your life is going to change, I would have been like, no, you're absolutely out of your mind. You're crazy.
None of us are crazy.
No.
It's happening.
And thank you, chat room folks. You always give good information.
Well, because it's what we do here.
I know.
We change your frequency, bring you into ours, and then we protect you from the deception, because it's kind of like how we roll, you know?
I can't believe I told everyone I was cat mode.
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Am I awake or is this a dream? It's a dream. A fantasy where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world. Thought you were alive.
Microdose, day 4. Strain is Golden Teacher. Okay, so I'm going to pick up the story last night. I had a late shower and I was not expecting anything since the dose was way earlier in the day. I thought of sharks again. It crossed my mind as I started to relax. What the F? Sharks again? Then a voice says, are you scared? Nope. I said as I began to call all these sharks to me. I'm tired of this, I thought. Come to me, my family. And I ask that you eat this fear from me. Sharks began to swarm around me and began their attack. One by one, they tore into me, each one more frightening than the next. I stood eyes wide open and watched as they ate the fear from me. I called to an even bigger, more monstrous-sized shark. Eat me, I said with a firm gratitude. The beast swallowed me whole, and as I entered his belly, I began to merge with the shark. I grew up out of its fin, and I began to ride. My family, to me, I shouted. The sharks formed a giant school and began to follow. I did it. I felt so warm and welcome with them. I realized I was in the shower again, but then I felt like I was floating. I began to see women from my life. They were all acting very sexually towards me and each other. Something did not feel right. I enjoy my dirtiest of thoughts, but this was something different, something I do not like. It does not agree with me at all. One of the girls gets very close to me as I start to back up a step. She motions to me and begins to bend over in front of me. I thought, this is beginning to disgust me. I look over at her and motioned her to stand up. She looked it back at me like she was not in control. As our eyes met, a being about 4 feet tall, purple and black with giant horns, like the devil, stepped out of her. It looked at me and jumped right into the right side of my chest. I said, no, and I tried to push and pull this thing out. Get out of me. I was frustrated. What the F? Other devil beings began to step out from within of the different women. They began jumping all over, making it hard to focus on any one individual being. I could not see the being in me trying to match my frequency so that he may join me in a negative way. So I tried something new. I began to vibrate, switching my frequency over and over again with the higher realms. I took a step back, and the devil being was out. It looked like a goblin with horns. It happened so quickly that the being didn't notice I was free. I grabbed it in energy, and it was trying to merge with me, but I got you. I hear a sucking sound and noticed a portal in the floor, and in you go. The sucking sound became very loud, and the moment the being was gone, dragged into the portal, and the others began to attack. It was very annoying. I stood my ground and said with an insane confidence, I have some family that I'd like you all to meet. Before I could finish my thought, the sharks entered the space and began to attack. One by one, the devil beings were taken, each torn and shredded and thrown into the portal. I called out to my dragon. He is huge and white with blue eyes. His fire was that of the violet flame. He was clearing me. Then the women were free. They began to hug me and thank me for helping them. There were so many under the control of these beings. Did they live in a layer or a density we just can't see? And from there, they mess with us? Well, no more is that the case. Playtime is over. Let me just ask you, just from that statement right there, because we know a lot about dirty things and people like pornography naturally, and it's all good and gravy. But there gets to a point where it's like this dark, ritualistic, dirty thing that happens. It's almost like something animalistic comes over you in the negative way.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and you get very turned off by
Listen,
it.
I'm a rock star. I've been around some people, right? And you're like, oh, I'm so happy I'm here with this person, and it's going to go down. And soon as the eyes meet, you're ready to run out the door. You're like, no. This isn't what this is uncomfortable. And I don't mean to sound like this, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Right? Like they talk about these things like incubuses and succubuses.
Oh, yeah. The Chapman folks were talking about it. They think that's what you were experiencing. And this was all while he was taking a shower. I mean, the poor guy, you know, he leaves the door cracked because he never knows what's going to happen when he takes a shower.
Ron's asking on the microdose. Ron, I don't know what happened since the day I met Chris Gio and I heard that crack in my skull.
Yep.
This is where I'm at with 0.3 grams of golden teacher in my system at all points of the day. I'm going off like the school bell, the lunch bell.
Mm-hmm.
Bring, and then it starts happening. And I'm like, oh, you know, last week we were talking. I'm like, yo, the girl walked into the apartment. She didn't it wasn't flighty and weird. Like she walked right through. I mean, she came through the wall and the window, but then she was standing there. Just like what the reptilians did to me. They came through I was on the 3rd floor. They came through the window in a group and just stepped into the room. And I went, oh, yeah, that's a hallucination. That didn't just happen. And they were breathing on me. So I touched one and ran because I was like, oh, this thing is really in the room with me. And it was like, don't touch anything again. I've learned not to just reach out and do that because you don't know anymore. You
have to use your discernment.
Well, there's a few things. I'm tired of my fears. This is what brought us to this point, right? All right. Yeah. We're going to jump a little bit again. All right. I'm so sick of my fear. I'm afraid of sharks. I'm deathly afraid of the water, but I'm a lifeguard. I'm a certified lifeguard from back in the day. When I went to school, I taught the college curriculum on how to be a lifeguard, but I never worked on the beach, only in the pool. And when I was in the pool, I used to have nightmares in the pool because I'd go, I was on the swim team at one point. And they were called the Barracudas. Awesome team, by the way. Shout outs, Jacoby Hospital. But I'd get to the deep end of the pool, and there were these grates all the way down. It was like 15 feet down. And I used to think, release the sharks, right? And then I would jump in over the grate, and then I would think they wait till I'm like halfway down, and then let them out to see who gets to the other side fastest, right? And that thought's not funny to me because I'd be in the water.
Right.
So,
but you're not in the water now, and we're nowhere near the water.
No, I know. But see, this is what ayahuasca will do, right? I'm like, I'd like to know about the event. And she's like, yeah, you need to get over sharks.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So I'm like, well, I know we've been over this a million times. I'm in the Bronx, not around sharks. I'm around different kind of sharks, but no water sharks like that. They're like, you play with the pit bull, you stick your head in its mouth, and you're like, oh, this is fine, but you're afraid of the shark, and you're just not afraid of the pit bull at all. And I'm like, no, why would I be? That dog loves me. And they're like, if that dog accidentally bites down on your throat, you're dead. And I'm like, yeah, but she would never do that. They're like, all right, well, stop being afraid of the shark when the dog is actually way more dangerous to you in your lifestyle. And I'm like, all right, well, anyway, so now I still have this fear in the background. You know why? We watch these movies together, right, with the sharks, and they're just attacking everyone, and I'm going.
No, we can't go certain places.
All right.
We were on the beach in Wildwood with your family, and all your mother said was, "Oh, the Doppler is they named the shark on the Jersey Shore.
There's a great white
shark
comes through the Jersey Shore.
So she's, I think they have her tagged so that she shows up on sonar. Or like they have like a Doppler thing. So all Frank's mom said was, oh, so-and-so is like 6 miles out. And Frank left the beach. I said, Frank, there were so many small children that shark would eat before he ate you. What are you worried about?
No, but I thought it's the intention of, oh, no, there's a shark. I recognize it. It recognizes me. Isn't that how it always works? Right?
I know.
Hey, look, there's and it's on top of you.
I know, but really.
I know.
Like, that's just stupid.
No, hey, listen, some people have fears of...
No, it's not stupid. I'm joking. No, it's very serious.
All right, so I know why this is. I know I was eaten. I know I was attacked in a previous life. Probably a couple of times. Maybe I was fed to them. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
But the point is, you have to get over it. I'm just sick and tired of it. All right. Who remembers what it's like, who knows what it's like to be bullied and have to go around this person all the time? It's just like being around the shark.
Oh, I hate bullies.
I see. There you go. We all know that feeling. I'm just sick of feeling it. It doesn't mean I'm going to lash out. I'm observing and then reacting, right? So I'm learning how to get over this stuff. Then I'm just going to face my problem.
You are.
And we're going to get down. Right? That's the only way to do it. If you deny the fact that it doesn't matter if it's a shark or it's your fear. If you deny, like, I don't want to deal with that in any way, shape, or form, it's going to come back to haunt you.
Right.
All right. Think of it like this. In the comic books, you hide that fear mentally in the back of your head, but you're Superman, right? And then you're like, well, only kryptonite could stop me, and naturally my greatest fear. Right? And then someone shows up and reads your mind.
Right.
Right? And then shows up, in my case, as a giant shark man that runs on the land like that guy from Flash. The giant king shark. Sure. This thing's like a 20, 30-foot great white monster shark with hands and feet, jumps up out of the water, goes, hey, boss, guess what? Starts eating everyone on the dock. And I'm like, yeah, not going to watch this anymore. And naturally, I'm staring even closer to the TV. Can't wait for the next scene to see him so I could get the crap scared out of me again. So I'm like, I have to get over this. I have to face it. All right. When I was younger, I had the dream of the T-Rex coming in the second floor window, eating me out of my bed, right? Which I used to feel like I was in a cave, and then that was occurring. Then I saw Land of the Lost came out, and it's an old show. Sorry, guys. And it had the lizard Sleestack.
I remember that, yeah.
Okay, but the intro had the T-Rex in front of the cave window, in front of the opening, trying to eat everyone, and it can't, so it turns and screams at the crowd, and then I'm like, oh, my God. And then I'm sitting in the Jurassic Park movie years later, and it was like Jurassic Park 2, and they have a scene with the kid, and it eats the T-Rex is in the backyard drinking out of the pool. It eats the dog. And then the kid's looking at it, and it comes right up to the window and looks at him. I'm like, why am I so afraid? Well, the fear comes from your DNA. We've lived through this. We've lived through these events, these beings, these different things. It's in our fractal. So if it didn't happen, like let's say in our past life, say it's happening in another now in a different fractal, you're still getting it.
Right.
That information, you're still the center of your spider web. That information is coming back to you. Isn't that how it disseminates? It comes back through the spider web to the center point. That's the singularity. That's what we're all trying to accomplish. We're retracting the spider web.
Picking up all of the pieces and putting them together like a puzzle.
Yes. Oh, that's etherical translation at its finest. This morning when I wake up, I can't stop thinking of this repeating message. You are becoming the angels of Earth. You are in the process of transforming, and the mushrooms are making this transformation much easier for you to handle. I grab my dose and go for point 3 again. Excellent choice, a voice says. So I'm back in the gym, and I'm putting my clothes in the locker, and the experience begins. It was very crowded, and it felt like I couldn't concentrate on something as simple as putting the lock in my locker. I felt eyes staring at me from every direction. Oh no, not now, I thought, as I could see the energies of worry and nervousness begin to envelop me. I stood facing the locker. Very calmly, I took a deep breath and said, "No, you will not do this to me." The energies began to back away, and they lingered at my perimeter. I will not have this anymore, I thought to myself with intention. I began to walk on the treadmill and found my focus right away. I started to see a small broken bridge in front of me. It was very small, and the boards were broken, so you could not just walk across. But it was only about 3 feet across to jump. I was standing on one side of it with a light being, and on the other side was a line of people waiting to cross. I saw that my brother was next in line, and he was shaking from the thought of crossing. People began to yell, "Come on, man, jump!" He was hesitating and was very unsure of himself. I said to him, "Hey, my brother, come on, I gotcha." He looked and shook his head. "Come on, I'm right here. You'll be safe." He was trembling and shook his head again. I reached over the bridge and pulled him to me. "See, you're safe," I said. The light being turned to me and said, "You cannot do that. He must do this on his own." And the being sent him back to the other side. "What? That's my brother. He's coming with me," I shouted. The light being looked over and said, "This is his choice." The other people began shouting, "Let's go, buddy. You're holding us all up." I looked behind my brother. I could see the being animating him. He is a golem, big and red, like a juggernaut. I jumped the bridge and looked him in the eyes. "Come on, man. What's the problem?" He motioned back to the human version of my brother. He was freaking out. He was losing his shit, and then there was nothing I could do. I felt useless. Suddenly, I saw him make 2 fists, and he began to shake violently. He was trying to get control over his fear. He's doing it. I could see the look on his face. He's going to do it. He stopped shaking, looked over at the other side of the bridge, and he leaped towards the light. While he was in midair, the red golem being stood up and made a running leap and jumped into my brother. They did it. He made it. I jumped across the bridge and wrapped my arms around him. You did it, man. You made it. I was overcome with the feeling of being the proud older brother. "You're fearless, my little brother." In the last few days, I've written and spoken with many people, asking question after question. Each question more burning than the next. They're ready, I'm thinking. There are so many, and now is time for action. It is now time to speak up and be heard. The plant medicines are just medicines. The plants do not want you escaping over and over to the spirit world and not implementing what you have learned here on the planet. We are raising warriors. We are not victims. We are creators. We are to learn and then put it into action. We are going to save ourselves by grounding to this beautiful planet and raising our frequencies and vibrations. We will teach each other. We will make leaders, not followers. We are warriors of the light, source in a flesh suit. We have come here to transform and create a new world. Take responsibility for yourself. Take back your thoughts. Speak when you must. Learn to observe. Take action when it's time. Love yourself. I love you. Be fearless. On a side note, my vision and my perception is changing. I can't really fully explain it yet, but I noticed it from the sides, and it keeps happening, then stopping. All right.
And that's all while you were on the treadmill at the gym.
Yeah. Something happened to me, was happening in the gym, right? So fears were like trying to overtake me. At times I could see people pumping the weights and they're actually pushing fear out. And some, you can see them on the machines, they're just pushing the weight and they're dead inside, right? Like they're lifeless in the gym.
Vacant.
Yeah. And I can see those fighting and those that have given up and those that want to, and you see how people look at us. We walk in the gym sometimes. it's really weird. Like it's almost like you're getting a nod from the other creators of respect, and then everyone else, it doesn't matter.
No.
Which means there's a lot of beings around. That's just something I've noticed. Because there's a huge mix of people.
But you're going to be noticing that more and more, I have a feeling now. Because now we're getting closer to the event. And I think that those lights are turning on more and more frequently now.
Absolutely. And I the metaphor of my brother making the jump, right? It's only 3 feet, right? You can pretty much take a running jump and jump 3 feet. Come on, guy, it's for your life. Wait, this was my thing, and everyone's going through this now.
But you can't measure anyone's fear. You can't measure it against anything else. Like, you can't measure grief and happiness. You can't compare it to someone
else's.
Because
individual experience.
It's their grief. It's their fear. But I know that overcoming that fear is one of the hardest things you'll probably do in your life.
Right. And now think, you're overcoming that as a fear, and people want to see reptilians. And I'm like, no, you got to make that bridge jump first.
Well, we see them every day.
It's different though. For people.
No, they're there. You see them under their human skin. You see them in their human skin. You don't see them, but they're there. They're there. You're coming into contact with them every day. All these people that are waiting to have these fantastical experiences. You're dealing with these beings and entities
daily,
all day. They're just in flesh suits.
And some of them are just around you.
They're right in front of you. They're your friends. They're your lovers. They're your relationships. They're the people you work with and go to school with. And, they're with you all the time. And that's why you immediately feel the way you do. You either like someone or you don't, or you feel very drawn to them or you don't. That's why. They're going to be playing off your fear or your love or whatever vibration they can connect to you.
That's why I had to remove the shark fear, because what'll happen is I'll drink ayahuasca or smoke DMT or take a mushroom or go to the beach, and that fear will just come flying out at me in that situation.
Fear of sharks.
So you have to just get rid of it.
You're putting out
ride a shark.
That level of vibration. So you're going to get back everyone else's fear about everyone else's fear, whatever it is, because you're on the same frequency. So you want to get out of that frequency.
I've seen so many worse things than sharks at this point, and they're like, why is it hammering in on you like that? And I go, you know what? Let's do this. Like, that's the only thing I could think of.
Because you can...
Like, I really don't... Paul, you know me, right? I don't know what to do. I'm just going to do it, right? Like, what else am I supposed to do? I just come back with the story.
You do what you have to do.
Like, if this is what's up, let's do it. Because if you do it any other way... Like, I'm very interactive. I don't sit back, and I always tell Aya, listen, I'm sorry if I'm being pushy or aggressive, button pushy, over questioning. And she always tells me, this is how you get. You're not clawing and screaming over the top of people's heads to get here. You're respectfully coming in and then questioning the whole thing. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. So when I tell people you have to submit to the experience, that doesn't mean go in 400 times and submit to her 400 times. You submit to the experience. Within the submission of the experience, you get to work. You do it. You ask all the questions. You push all the buttons you need to. Is it right to touch this? Should I do that? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, check it out. This is how I see it. Now I'm thinking about it. Think of this as we're all in our own training simulation.
That's what it is.
Right? But each one of us were X-Men characters, superheroes that were put into different positions, hidden. And you have to train against this stuff and take the information back out and bring it here. Right? They're not coming with you. They'll be by your side and they'll help even the odds a little bit when it comes to the spiritual stuff. But it's on you, 100%.
But it is on you because you're responsible for bringing your piece of the puzzle back and then figuring out what happens next. And that's all you can do.
Right.
Like we have this.
That's why I'm just like, make the jump. Just do it. But what about that? And what about just listen,
do it.
The jump is the only thing that's important. It's a leap of your faith and consciousness. And once you do it, it becomes rock solid foundation.
But the funny thing is, you don't even have to make the jump. You have to say in your head that you're willing to make the jump, and that's enough. See, people think it has to be so hard.
Yeah, you're not literally going out on the parkway, jumping over a bridge.
Once you decide to make the jump in your head, you've already accomplished it. Like when you decide to do anything important in your life, or not, you've succeeded, or you've already failed before it started.
Absolutely.
You can do it.
Yes, you
Because
can.
once you do it in your head, once you've decided to do it, you're halfway. You're halfway there.
You just have to put your foot forward in time. When they say magic is motion, intent,
That's
energy,
all it is.
you have to just go through the time experience with the thought and push it forward. That's how things get done.
That's it. That's it. It's already done. Once you've thought about it and you picked a side, it's already done.
It's funny. A lot of people have been asking me, oh, what's a good book to read? What about this? What about that? And I'm like, man, I don't really do that. I rarely read the book. I have a few that I've read, but I get all my gnosis from the plants. So Shaman Ron's in the room right now, and he knows what he's talking about. You trust the plants unconditionally, right? But they're your symbiotic partner to your consciousness. It's the link. It's your team. You're on a football team. Everybody's playing together. They're like a major part of it.
Well,
right.
It
so
is
you
teamwork.
give in.
We all have to do
it,
our part.
And you trust in it.
Yeah.
But what I tell people, because this is what it comes down to, that's my personal gnosis that I gain from the experiences, right? So I'm looking at what they're showing or whatever the truth is, and I'm coming back with, the information. So when someone asks me, well, how did you know that? I'm like, I didn't read the 50 books you read, man. I mean, in the last 4 years, I've done more learnings than 50 lifetimes at least.
Mm-hmm.
This is insanity at this level, but I don't want their writing to cloud my mind, because every time I find out the information that's in most of the writings, only like 25% is correct, 40%, 30%, 10%. And I don't want the other garbage to cloud me out. I'd rather search for how long has this been around? And then when I look, I go, oh, it's been around for a long time. They've been talking about this forever. Paul, sometimes you tell me, I'm like, this is new to you, Frank.
Mark, it's new to you.
But I want to keep it that way, because I can't find information out there. I'm on YouTube all day. I can't find anything that's quenching my thirst anymore. It's just my personal gnosis. And when I talk to you guys and we try to figure it out, that's it. That and cartoons, man. Like, I can't,
I understand that, though. I understand.
I'm getting brainwashed by all this bullshit out there, and I'm done. The information has to come from you, and you have to discern it. Bring it in. Bring it all home. You could read the book, discern the book, and bring in the information you need and move on. It's also a good way to do it.
Take what you need.
There's no wrong way to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I just have my way of doing my way.
Right.
And I think it's appropriate, considering I find myself with all the others, after I talk about it, they're like, how'd you know that? I'm like, I just found this out through ayahuasca or mushrooms or whatever.
And you believe, you take with faith what she's telling you.
Yeah, and then I take my seat at the table, because I bring something to the table. Bring something to the table when you sit. Bring something. You're worth it. You're worthy. Pick up the hammer. Pull the sword out of the stone. It's time. If this event happens in between here and next week, I don't know if it is. Naturally, no dates, no times.
We don't know.
When we love you, and then hang in there, just be safe and whatever. But I think it'll be more towards the end of the month, like towards the back end and into April. And if it's not, don't worry, because we're still doing this. Yeah. Don't put it on what they're telling us. We got to go and filter this information out with everyone.
Yes.
And then if it happens, we're in it together. And we're in it to win. We're not in it to lose. We're not here to lose. We never came to lose. Just because we lost a couple of little battles doesn't mean we lost a war. And it's not really a war. We walked onto the playing field that we created. We're the all. It's me, it's you, and it's everyone else. I love you. All right, so change your perception. Tune into ours, because we're your protection.
From